She's fought for so long, but today Theresa May finally surrendered.
Ever since I first stepped through the door behind me as Prime Minister, I have striven to make the United Kingdom a country that works not just for a privileged few, but for everyone, and to honour the result of the EU referendum. Back in 2016, we gave the British people a choice. Against all predictions, the British people voted to leave the European Union. I feel as certain today as I did 3 years ago that in a democracy, if you give people a choice, you have a duty to implement what they decide. I have done my best to do that.
But in the end, her best wasn't good enough.
It is now clear to me that it is in the best interests of the country for a new Prime Minister to lead that effort. So I am today announcing that I will resign as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party on Friday the 7th of June.
Her husband watched on as his wife tried to hold it together, but it was all too much.
I will shortly leave the job that it has been the honour of my life to hold. The second female Prime Minister, but certainly not the last. I do so with no ill will, but with enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
This is a decision that we have expected for weeks, if not months, but still it's a catch-your-breath moment. Mrs May says she tried her best, but in the end she ultimately failed. It's the end of May and the search for a new Prime Minister begins. As the media circus dissected what they'd just seen, this political friend and loyalist admitted to me it was a difficult watch.
It was tough. That's really tough because, you know, it is that sense of, well, yeah, just that sense of pride in her country, pride in our country. You know, that sense of what we can be, that sense of optimism that she spoke about, and yet sadness that it's come at a big price for her, and not being able to follow through on the agenda that I know she cares about so much.
For others, the mourning period will be short. The leadership election officially begins in June, but for many it started weeks ago. Boris Johnson at a conference in Switzerland today, teeing up his big launch.
I will send it a go for it, but I do not, if you will forgive me, I do not wish to elaborate now on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. But you will be, believe me, you will be hearing possibly more about that than you necessarily want to hear.
The current Foreign Secretary was the first cabinet minister to break cover today and say he was running. But look at this gaggle of his cabinet colleagues. Pretty much all of them are planning to run too. Whoever comes out on top will have to win over the woman who's propping up Theresa May's government.
We will listen very carefully to what each of the contenders have to say about Brexit, in particular from our perspective in and around the Brexit debate and the backstop.
The Tory party plan to pick a new leader and Prime Minister by late July. Labour think the people should decide.
Her strategy has not worked. The divisions in the Tory party make a Conservative government untenable. There has to be an election so that people can decide their choice for their future of this country, not just on relations with Europe, but on all the other issues.
But it wasn't the public that did for Mrs May, it was her party. Another Conservative Prime Minister destroyed by Europe. This man knows only too well how that feels.
Obviously, it is a very big moment, a very sad moment, because she cared passionately about the job and about the country, and she wanted to serve the public just as I did. And when you come to that moment that you know your time is up, it's extremely hard to take.
Indeed it is. A political career defined by not showing emotion. A premiership built on a promise to deliver Brexit, ending in failure and in tears. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Westminster.